The Field of Dreams game is finally here, and we learn a lot about Iowa and corn, apparently. Plus, the greatest, most iconic sports bracket unfolds. We're through with round one. We'll discuss next. This is the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back once again to the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. This is Chad the Mark with
Mr. Brown.
The one and only Canadian Biggie.
Welcome back, Biggie. How was the Great White North?
It's still white. It's the north, but it wasn't the frozen tundra.
So, did you have a good time?
It's always a good time when you get to see good friends.
Did you cross international boundaries?
Not this time.
Okay.
I went to northern Minnesota to see Bonehammer, and that was as far as I made it towards my Canadian roots.
What did you say you forgot and got a little chilly?
I forgot a hoodie because in North Dakota this time of year, when we first got there, it was 50 degrees overnight. Now, during the day, we'll get 90, 95, no humidity. My kids all pack theirs. I'm typically prepared. I was not. So in the evening, I went inside.
So you had the perfect opportunity to take the We Don't Know Sports hoodie with you, and you just dropped the ball.
I mean, that's a huge billboard we didn't get access to.
I completely dropped it. Luckily for me, my kids are smarter and better than me, so they took theirs, and my sister, niece, and her friends are all purchasing.
That kind of makes up.
Just don't fumble again. We're out to cut you.
Damn. That's pressure. I don't know if I can handle that.
We are glad you're back. I will ask you, though, it's hot as hell today, so, like, did you acclimate correctly coming back? But it is – I don't know where everybody's at when you're listening to this, but in West by God, Virginia today, I think the heat index is like 106. It sucks.
It's crazy. When I was in North Dakota, it was 94 degrees. I was outside in jeans and a T-shirt working, and I felt good because there's no humidity. When I first came back here, super hot. God, I forgot about the humidity. Today's, for an example, I've been back 5 days. The temperature was 93. The heat index was like 104 and 106. I was melting.
97 today.
Too hot.
Yeah, way too hot.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
I feel like I got a little sunburn on top of my head, and I got hair now. It's crazy.
You know, I'll take it, though, because I'd rather have 100 degrees right now than negative 47 in January.
I don't know what that's like.
You don't want to know.
Well, the evening here, even though it's, still in the 80s, it's like 10 o'clock right now, but we were really excited for a sporting event that Mr. Brown, you and I really wanted to go to last year, and COVID kind of derailed that. But what's been the enjoyment for the evening?
Field of Dreams game. We have the Sox and the Yanks, and to me, we was talking earlier, personally, I think it needs to be the Sox every year, just like the Lions on Thanksgiving. But
yeah, you mentioned that earlier. That's kind of a nice thing because that's roots with the movie.
Correct. And I like the inaugural one that had the Yankees because you had to pick an old school team that was playing when Shoeless Joe and all them played to make it more nostalgic, and draw the fans. But
you can easily rotate between the Sox, who should be there. I completely agree. And you can throw in the Red Sox and some of the Tigers, some of these teams that were around during that time.
So we're not saying that the Sox are guaranteed to be in it every year. It's just what should happen. But they were saying Manfred kind of slipped and said the Cubs are going to be in it next year, but we'll see.
So, it might be the Cubs and Reds. The Reds have so many old school uniforms.
They do. They do. They bring out the red legs again.
There you
go.
I prefer it be Cubs and Reds, but if the Cubs are in it, it's going to be Cubs Cardinals.
Yeah, possibly. Those stupid shitbirds.
All I got to say watching this, it's just amazing the way they put it together. Even in the outfield, I was talking to Mr. Brown earlier, and you're thinking, okay, how far are the fields? What are they doing for a fence? And it doesn't even look like a fence. It's painted like it's damn corn stalks.
So let's kind of rewind here for a second. So Biggie, you missed a little bit of it because you have kids and they have extracurricular activities, and we sat here and enjoyed it while you were doing busy things as a single dad. Shout out to all the single dads out there. But anyway, we were saying there was like some we wish and we hopes, right? And one of those was, let's have them walk through the corn. And damn it, did they not do it? And was it not majestic?
Like, I thought it was great. It was great. I thought they were going to do it, like call the starting lineup and do it, but the way they just did it and walked out was even better.
Just with the music kind of playing?
Well, first it starts with Kevin Costner comes walking through the corn.
Milked it.
with the song was playing in the background. He did. He played it well. We were talking like it was kind of like a wrestling into a WrestleMania, and the whole thing felt like a WrestleMania moment. That's how, like, I got chills watching it.
It was like a Triple H entrance. You know, you're going to break out all the pageantry for this, but so Costner, we thought he was going to throw out the first pitch. He didn't do it.
The ball in his hand.
I don't know, like, what happened there, but like, maybe that ball, he got signed ball to play. I don't know what it was, but he walks through the corn first. And he's just soaking it in. You know, it's like, you talk about wrestling. It's like when The Rock's like, you know, doing the
sniffing.
I tried to make the noise so they could hear me sniffing, but actually I have clean nasal passages right now. But anyway, you know, he's doing the soak in, all that. And then just with nothing, they start appearing out of the corn behind him. And they come like, what, 6 at a time maybe?
Yeah.
So you get it staggered in, and they don't do it like per team. It's mixed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish I'd have seen that live because we had that conversation because they hadn't announced how they were going to do it. That's how it's got to be. I'm glad that's how it went.
Oh, well, once I saw that there was that opening in center field, I knew that's what was going to happen.
I mean, I said that better be what happens.
But like Costner stood out there. He walked out to where like you would see the second baseman as a cutoff in the outfield. And he's standing there, and like the players, they're in awe, and you can tell. So they're walking in, they're all giving him handshakes, and then I don't remember which one, but one went to the first base side, one went to the third base side, and they just lined up in the infield like you would for a starting lineup.
Yep.
And they were just shaking his hand as they walked in. You could tell they were like kids on Christmas morning.
So we were talking about before the game, like what was Aaron Judge, like they interviewed him, he had a take about all this.
Yeah, they were riding there. I think it was a 45-minute bus ride. And then nobody was on their phones. He said, like, the whole team, you know, you have a lot of them from, like, you know, Latino background, and they have never been to Iowa. You know, why would you go to Iowa?
Yeah.
I guess, but I haven't been to Iowa. But they were just soaking it in, like the countryside and just in awe. No one was on their phones. They were just enjoying the moment.
Yeah, he said nobody was on their phone. They were just glued to the windows, just watching. And Aaron Judge was talking about how baseball needs to do more stuff like this. And we were talking earlier, like, you remember a few years ago they had the game at Fort Bragg?
Yep.
So that was a big deal. And then I know they do the one in Williamsport around the Little League World Series, but, like, outside of this, what else can you do, though? Like, we're talking about, like, all the great baseball movies and stuff like that, but, like, those all were, like, real stadiums and things like that. So, like, what else can you do? Because this is magical. I mean, it really is.
Outside of this, you can't do anything else that has the same appeal to it. Like the NHL does their game on New Year's Day every year, the Winter Classic. Yeah. Well, that's outdoors. They pick different places. You can do that game anywhere. For baseball, because it's so historic there, it's been played for so many years. There's not many spots that have the same feel to it as this field in Iowa does.
I mean, you would go play at historic Fenway. Oh, they do that 84 times already, you know? I mean,
like Fenway and Wrigley, they're played all year long.
I don't think you could, like, I'm not even asking to touch this because you're not, but it's other venues you could do. So to me, I thought of, like, playing at the Durham Bulls Stadium, you know? So do that.
Yep.
Or, I mean, really, like when they did the Fort Bragg thing with the Braves a few years back, that was a cool experience. Even though it didn't have movie ties, but it was cool. Service members there.
Just different things, you know. I mean, what about that ballpark? We see the pictures all the time in California on the ocean.
Absolutely.
Play one there.
Ocean.
Yeah,
can't they play one that's on like the northern border of the United States when you hit a home run?
Goes into Canada.
Yeah, we hit that to another country.
I mean,
or I guess you could hit it over the wall to Mexico.
Yeah, there we go. Fenway.
The gray monster. I don't know what you call it. But you know, the point is, like, these are the types, like, people talk about how baseball doesn't brand itself very well. Like, this is great branding. It's a Thursday in August, and you have the national spotlight. Now, I'll be interested to see what the television ratings are, but regardless of that, that's not why we watch. We watch because we love baseball. We love the movie Field of Dreams. We love everything about this. We love the genetically modified corn that's 9 foot tall that Biggie definitely says is not natural.
He called that out quickly, so props to Biggie.
Got very upset, and then they did a whole segment about what they did to make it look good.
They vindicated me.
But did you hear about the corn sweat? You know about the corn sweat?
The what?
The corn sweat.
I do not know.
The what? So
then here's what happened. So apparently corn puts off this perspiration, and it seems like that it's way more humid than it really is because you're around that corn. So they did this whole special on MLB Network about how these players have to be ready because they're going to be soaked through the uniforms because of the corn sweat.
Yeah, I was just curious what you had for a background on that, because in North Dakota, you know what years more corn's grown than others because it's actually humid.
So
I knew what you were going. I was just curious if you had just heard something.
You just strung us along?
Yeah.
You bastard.
It's not a fake humidity, but it's there because of the corn.
Yep.
And they said it would clearly affect the outfielders.
Oh, yeah. They're soaked.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple questions about the game. What'd you think of the unis?
I like the Sox obviously better than the Yankees, but they did a nice job, and those helmets are pretty slick, too.
The Sox helmets are fantastic. Yankees, really all they did was just do the fat emblem, right?
And yeah, that's all they did. But
the Yankees don't do a whole lot with their uniforms.
No. They've been the same forever, and that's fine. It's iconic, but and I hate you got to have the advertising, but a Nike check, really? Come on, man.
Yeah, it kills me.
You know what? I could have traded off that if they wouldn't have done any flat billed hats and just have them look like the real give them the Babe Ruth style hats. It's just barely a piece of cloth. They just let them
like the one David Wells wore when he was playing for the Yankees.
Oh, good call out, Biggie.
Yeah.
You know what I like about this game, and I wish MLB would do, although it'd be hard to do, like we said, particular fields. Right now, this is a national event for baseball. Baseball is such a regional sport. It is the NFL, football, it's just on another level. There's no reason that baseball, you can't know who Fernando Tatis is living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's so regionalized. I wish that something like this they would do more of.
Even like a national game of the week or something.
Yeah, just something that's on a Wednesday night on Fox, not a Saturday afternoon, with everything that you can see between, what we watch on our streaming and everything else. Just something like this that draws everyone, like Monday Night Football.
Right.
The thing is, we're baseball fans. We play fantasy baseball. Not a lot of people do that. We can tell you a lot about different players and teams and things like that. The thing about the state of the league, outside of the upcoming, labor negotiations and all that stuff, the state of the league is in great hands because you have a phenomenal amount of young talent right now, and a lot of it is very marketable. Guys like Tatis that you mentioned, guys like Acuna. I mean, even guys like Pete Alonso. I mean, just it goes on and on and on. Mike Trout is still a young guy. I mean, it's insane about the talent they have. But we look at it and we're like, yeah, these guys are stars. But outside of it's not like even NBA isn't as popular in the United States as it used to be.
You live here in West Virginia, and I ask you to name one or two players off of the San Francisco 49ers, Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams, or Chargers. Everybody's going to name one or two or three players. I ask you to name who the starting shortstop is for the
average sports fan, and they're going to struggle.
And it's not the team's fault. It's not the player's fault. It's marketing.
Because it's all regional.
Yes.
But that's they're going to have to change some of the revenue and things like that because I was looking earlier. I can't remember if I texted you guys this or not, but the Pirates payroll is $30 million right now. The Orioles, they're going to lose 100 games again this year, I think. I mean, I know last year was a shortened season, but it's just terrible. Chris Davis did retire, though.
I saw that. Mr. O for 100.
Yeah. So let me touch on the young athletes we got, right? So we have two guys that are on their way out, surefire Hall of Famers, Pujols and Miguel Cabrera. They're at the ends of their career.
Yeah.
Those are probably the only two bats that I can think of that are Hall of Famers playing right now.
Did Miggy get 500 tonight?
I don't know.
Are they playing?
So you've got all this young talent in the game that's carrying the game right now. There's not a bunch of old timers still doing it. You have Scherzer on the mound, who's older, but it's in great hands, like you said. But I'm gonna drop one trivia question here. Uh-oh. Speaking of Miguel Cabrera, so if he does hit his 500th home run, he'll be the third right-hander of all time to be 500 home runs, 300 average, and there was something else. I think it was the so many RBIs. Maybe 2,000 RBIs. So who's the other two?
Mike Schmidt?
No.
Right-hander?
Yeah, right-hander.
I'm going to say Hank Aaron.
That's one.
Yeah.
And the other one's going to be Willie Mays.
Yes.
Right. Nice job.
Here's what's crazy. Pujols was there, but his latter part of his career dropped in below 300.
Yeah, these last few years. Yeah.
Hey, you know what, though? He's at I hate the Dodgers with a passion, but it's a nice little, he's done well for them.
Yeah.
Like,
he fits a role real well.
Like they're playing him a lot more than I thought they were going to.
Yep.
I mean, it's been quite amazing. I'd like to see what his splits are since he's gone over to L.A., but anyway, Pujols is done after this year. I mean, it's
well, he's like actually 53 years old. So
yeah, I mean, at least 52.
Yeah.
But the point is, you're right, Biggie. Marketing needs to be there. Field of Dreams is great. Like, I was genuinely excited for this. Like, so Mr. Brown is a Braves fan. I'm a Reds fan. Our teams were playing today. And, we're like, hey, it comes on early, so we got time to actually, watch. We don't have to worry about our game. We get to watch that. And you know what? On Sunday nights, I hate ESPN's coverage of baseball, but they do Sunday night baseball, and everybody plays early in the day on Sunday, and then you get the one marquee game later. Why can't you do that? You get in the middle of the week. Usually you have 2 evening games on a 3-game series, then you have the early game, right? Because it's a travel day. You got to be able to have one night game. Do those national games of the week. All that stuff would help. And it's fun. We're watching the game tonight, and we see the damn pitching coach for the White Sox is trying to eat a raw cob of corn like an idiot. I don't know what was happening there. You don't get that with the NFL. You don't get people trying to literally shuck it right off the – I mean,
if you could shuck a wood of corn, what'd you good shuck?
Let me give you one more. So we threw out from Miggy, right?
Okay.
Here's your Pujols statistic. Where does he rank all time on the all-time RBI list?
7th.
You got a guess? This will surprise you.
I don't think he's as high as he should be. I'll just say 15th.
3rd all time.
3rd?
He is currently 69 RBIs behind Babe Ruth.
Damn.
Man, I was going the other way with that.
Is that not insane? You've got Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and Albert Pujols.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Maybe. It's insane when you look at that because how bad his Angels contract was and how much he did produce for those Cardinals teams.
Yep.
It's insane.
Angels paid for his Cardinals production. I mean, it's all it's.
Who would have thought 3rd all time? That's crazy.
No, I was being
Babe Ruth, Albert Pujols.
I was being generous. I said 7th, and I was thinking he's probably in the top 10. I'll go 7. I never would have said 3rd. Never in a million years would I have thought that.
I mean, he's got more than A-Rod, more than Bonds, more than Gehrig, Musial, and Cobb.
All right, anyways. I had to drop a few tidbits.
All right, you've convinced me.
All right.
He is a Hall of Famer.
Unanimous?
No. It won't be. No, I don't know. Are they going to change that now? Will more people be unanimous after
I think they will now that they got somebody in. I think Pujols will be unanimous.
I think what it is just some of these old writers are going away. And you're starting to get some people sprinkled in, and it's just oh, wow, it's an obvious decision. I don't have to think about what they did in the 50s now. Okay, let me go ahead and do the right thing.
Well, then you might get your sports writer be like, well, he didn't really answer my question the way I appreciated. He was kind of a smart aleck. So I'm not voting for him.
That's exactly what happened.
That's the one thing I hate about the Hall of Fame and all venues is that the sports writers just determine it. So you could have a Ken Griffey Jr. who should be 100% and isn't. You could have a Chipper Jones who should be 100% and isn't because someone may not like the way they did an interview for him. There should be just a basic guideline. You hit this, and this mark, you're in. Boom, baby.
I just tied Mr. Brown in fantasy after beating my ass all week.
Well, I don't really like to look at it until the weekend.
It's almost the weekend to me, damn it. It's what I said earlier.
God. I don't know.
You're fighting for the playoffs. I appreciate your effort.
There you go. I'm in the 6th spot.
You're right. That's in. Yeah. If it ended today, you'd be in.
Yeah. Drew's not catching.
No, I don't think anybody is. Somebody'd have to get hot. Yeah. All right, so we're going to go to, what's the name of the town? Somewhere in Iowa, eastern Iowa. We go next year. It's 11 hours.
I'll take you guys.
Oh, you're offering.
He's used to these cross-country trips. So he's like, Canada.
Once we're getting across the Mississippi, he gets excited.
Oh, Canada. I'm telling you, if you were to go spend a weekend there, or say they play this game on a Thursday night, you stay for a couple days, you'd have some fun out in Iowa.
All right,
Chad had a great plan. Go ahead.
Here's what we were thinking. So let's make it a 4-day 4-day little trip, okay? Because it's 11 hours.
Well, mini vacation.
All right. So I was thinking we could make an 8-hour drive on the first day and maybe take an activity in Chicago the second day, maybe go see a game at Wrigley.
I'd be down for that.
If the calendars work out, that would have to happen, unless the Cubs, well, we wouldn't be able to do that next year because the Cubs
might be in it.
Yeah,
well, I guess we're going to see
they could be there the day before.
We'll see just the Sox in Chicago.
Well, we might just travel with the Cubbies.
There you go.
Maybe we'll just follow the bus.
There you go.
We're going to Chicago. I got to get the Kevlar ready.
I mean, would that be better to get the Kevlar to go to Chicago then go to Iowa?
No, I'd be down for that.
Okay, so that might be the plan.
And we know we will invite Drew.
Yes, Drew is always the fourth guy.
Yeah. Oh, and since we're making this a 2-day trip, we get to go to United Center. I take a picture by the Jordan statue.
I mean, we're in Chicago.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sure.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Only if you hold me in your arms for one picture.
I'll hold you in my arms for 2 pictures.
I believe I can fly.
How can you not be romantic about that?
I'm not. So, we love our social media followers. We love the interactions that we get. And one of the things that we've been really good at doing in the past is we do these brackets. We bring people in and it's been a while since, cyber terrorists and things like that. It made us a little bit of gun shy when it comes to doing these. So now that we've kind of reestablished our stronghold, we did a most iconic sports moment bracket. And I guess when we talk about iconic moments, like it's just that lasting legacy. Like which one is more remembered by the masses? And I had a hard time with some of the bracket because like there's some really older, moments that are great, like the 1958 NFL championship game that's considered the greatest game. But do people today associate with that?
Hell no.
Why not? They don't associate with John Amici scoring the touchdown.
That was like prehistoric to people nowadays.
Alan Amici. I probably got his name wrong because I don't associate with it.
He's still alive?
No.
Here's the problem with this, where people are today that view sports. That game, Babe Ruth calling a shot, some of those things that were really iconic that happened. White Sox throwing World Series, different things that have affected. If it didn't happen since like 1985 on, people don't pay attention.
I personally think, and we saw it so far on our vote, that it seems like the baseball moments, even if they're older, are standing the test of time more than the other sports.
I got something to chime in here.
So, I can't think of like the NBA and the NFL moments that are back then. I don't really remember anything that's like, oh man.
How did you feel when you went to the Football Hall of Fame? What was your take?
It was awesome.
Right. All right. So how did you feel about anything that happened before 1970 at the NFL Hall of Fame?
I don't really care.
I don't think anybody.
It was cool seeing Jim Thorpe and all that, but that's probably the only one that caught my attention.
Just very few. But if you went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, how are you going to feel about things
it's
before?
It's amazing. Right. I'll be looking at all of them. Like Walter Johnson and everybody.
The historicity with baseball versus other sports is unmatched, right? Like, is that fair to say? Is that what's influencing this?
Baseball's been around for so long, and the fact that we still compare guys like from Babe Ruth to Hank Aaron to Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, today's players, makes the history of baseball so much more important.
All right, so we're gonna run through the bracket here, and I want you guys to tell me if you think our fans got it right. And why did a speaker just pop behind us?
That's 2 weeks in a row.
All right. Miracle on Ice versus the longest year, the Kevin Dyson reach in the Super Bowl, Rams-Titans yard shorts.
Miracle on Ice must have been a 1 seed.
It was.
Because it is the greatest moment in the history of sports.
And Miracle on Ice might win the whole thing. It's got a chance. It's got a chance.
All right, moving on.
All right, so Jesse Owens at the 36 Olympics winning gold in front of Adolf Hitler against Usain Bolt winning gold in the 100 and 200 meter in the same Olympics.
Well, Jesse Owens, that's just historic, iconic, but I bet it lost.
It moved on.
Jesse Owens won.
And it was 8-9 seed.
So the recency bias did not work there. All right, so this one is a tough one. You got Super Bowl LI. Is that the Falcons Patriots?
Super Bowl 49?
That's what that would be. Yes. All right, so Super Bowl 49 versus George W. Bush throwing out the first pitch in the World Series after 9/11 in New York.
So the first ever overtime NFL championship game, a Super Bowl game, actually, because the NFL champion went to overtime, versus the first pitch after 9/11. Now, I am a Patriots fan, so I voted Patriots on this one. W, man, he was warming up at the tunnel. He threw a strike. That was American. We'll slap our dick on your forehead. Fuck you. That wins.
So I seeded that as a 5-12, you know, and what do they say about a 5-12 matchup?
12's got to win.
That's what happened.
It's exactly, and the thing, so let's take a moment to reflect, though. How many times in social media do we even put anything remotely political that doesn't have backlash? This one was relatively calm. Everybody, like George W. wins this walking away, and most people were pretty, you know, I guess, nice about
because that was an American sports moment. It wasn't like a Democrat, Republican. I remember that. I was so pumped. That's just awesome.
The fact he went out there and just threw a strike, and he didn't stay in front of it. He stood from the mound and threw a strike from the mound, and he just sit there and waved to the crowd to New York. And then they were like, to me, I was just like, we're back.
Yeah. My favorite part about that is having watched it live and then seeing the interview years later where he's got a bulletproof vest on. And he's like, damn, I got to do this baseball, America's pastime. He's in the tunnel, firing it. Like you said, he threw it from the mound. It's like the miracle on ice. It's one of those moments that you will never forget.
All right. So that one's going to go far, I think. All right. Let's keep moving. So we talked about how baseball fared really, really well. There's something that did not fare very well in this bracket, and that is LeBron James. So the decision against the 1988 dunk contest, I did not mean to put LeBron against Jordan. I swear I didn't, but it happened. It's just the way it fell apart. So to me, I had the decision as a 4 seed. It was a huge moment. Like it, for better or worse, we talk about iconic. It doesn't mean it has to be a great moment. It just is a moment, and it changed the NBA.
It's probably the only thing that's happened like that in its nature.
Yeah, it got blown out.
Well, when you think about a lot of people who don't like LeBron, it's from that moment on.
Right. To be fair, though, I'm an MJ fan. Dominique won that 88 championship.
He did.
He should have won.
It was in Chicago, and that's why they gave it to MJ.
So I think our fans got that one wrong.
Do you?
I think the decision's a more iconic moment than the 88 dunk contest.
Well, some people's voting at which one they like better.
I understand.
Not more iconic.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right, Willis Reed versus Joe Carter's walk-off in the World Series.
Game 6.
Correct.
Easily. Man, that Carter, and then he's running around first base. He has to make sure he takes a bag. 3-run shot off Mitch Williams.
Wow. Sorry.
What?
Judge just took him deep before this.
Yeah. Back to back. It's 8-7 in Iowa.
Wow. Right, Hendricks has fell apart.
Stanton.
Who has Hendricks?
I do. I was trying to get the close.
Oh, man. Let's check our matchup.
Yeah, let's wait a minute. Mr. Brown might be on top again now. It's probably, 6-4.
Sorry.
There goes that ERA. Damn it all.
I love you, Iowa.
All right, so let's go back to something more important. All right, so
definitely Joe Carter.
Joe Carter. We're all on the same page. The fight of the century.
We still love you, Mitch Wild Thing Williams. Just throw that out there.
The fight of the century versus Battle of the Sexes. So Battle of the Sexes was the tennis match.
Late 70s?
Yeah.
Jimmy Connors and
Billie Jean King.
Yeah.
And the fight of the century. Ali overall did not do well in the bracket, but the fight of the century. See, I'm not a boxing historian. Was that the first one against Foreman, or was that Joe Frazier?
It was Frazier.
I thought it was Frazier.
Rumble in the Jungle was Foreman.
You're right. Okay, so there we go. So you guys fight a century,
or was it the Thriller in Manila?
I don't know. I need to go watch the movie again. All right, how about John Elway in the Drive against Magic Johnson retiring from HIV?
To me, Magic Johnson blows that moment away because he is the epitome of an NBA superstar. He's in every commercial. he was retiring from the game from a disease that a lot of people thought only gay people got.
Yeah.
And that you're going to die.
It changed everything. Like, I remember hearing about it in school and health class, and like, we was like, is Magic going to die? Like you just said, like, it was huge.
So when I was a kid, people were deathly afraid of AIDS. You didn't want a blood transfusion, anything like that. It was constantly talked about in school, safe sex, all that sort of stuff. People aren't afraid of AIDS anymore. And you want to know why? Because Magic's been alive for 30 freaking years.
And it looks healthier now than ever. So do we all agree that Magic is the bigger, more iconic moment than the drive?
I think so.
Okay.
I agree.
Fans got it wrong. They picked the drive.
7 and 10 matchups.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like it was crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like, well, that one wasn't really on the field or on the court. It wasn't
just about on the
it was just overall.
Sports moment.
All right, I got this one as a 2 seed because it's simply just called The Play. What is The Play, Biggie?
I don't know.
Come on.
The Play?
The Play. It's the band is out on the field. Mm-hmm. It's called The Play. Don't say when I defer to you to try to give it to everybody and you can't do it. You just lost all credibility from your trivia earlier.
Because to me, I hate that name and I'm not going to honor it because it's not The Play. It's the band is on the field.
It's The Play. And
no, it's not The Play. It was 17 laterals.
It was against Tiger winning the British Open after his dad passed.
The Play wins.
The Play wins.
It should win. It should win easily.
It did. And Tiger also did not fare real well in the bracket, which I thought recency bias will do him well, but it didn't there. All right, moving on. The Immaculate Reception versus Bird Magic in the NCAA title game in '79.
Immaculate Reception.
Yeah. You with that?
I could have went either way, honestly.
Is that just because you're a Raiders fan?
Yes.
I mean, it's Immaculate Reception. I have a 1 seed. Like
you did.
I feel like it's iconic.
Wow.
I think it's one of the most talked about moments in like NFL history ever. To this day, because there's no clear footage of him catching it or it hitting the turf.
Man, people were salty in the comments about it not really being a catch.
Yep.
They were letting that be known. All right, we're going to keep moving. We got.
I bet you it loses its next matchup.
Well, it's going to go against the winner of Tiger Woods winning his first Masters against Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game.
To me, it's Wilt with 100 points, but it was so long ago.
It moved on.
It moved on.
Okay.
It survived.
I think Wilt's going to beat the Immaculate Reception.
Baseball, Kirk Gibson, the pinch hit home run against the Epic in Miami. And the Epic in Miami is the game where they drug Kellen Winslow off the field.
It's got to be the Gibson home run.
It is. But, that's still an iconic moment in NFL. NFL fans got to be upset that one doesn't go. But how do you beat the Kirk Gibson?
Wasn't that a double overtime divisional round game against the Dolphins with Don Shula coaching?
It was a playoff game.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
Have you ever watched the entire at-bat of that?
Gibson? Yep.
It's amazing.
I love the commentary of him and Eckersley afterwards when they're interviewed separately years later, and he's talking about backdoor slider. I knew it was coming. Eckersley, you know how he is. F you. He didn't know that was coming. Like, I just love it.
Here's what's crazy, though. It was in the late 80s. That would never happen today. Like, a player in that type of shape would not have came out on the field.
No. Nope.
Just my opinion.
Never.
A manager would have never put a player like that because they felt like they had lost their job.
You mean the analytics would not have supported that?
Yep.
A crippled player on the field. But Tommy Lasorda said, I don't care. I'm going with my gut.
You watch him rounding the bases, and he's running slower than I did now at 300 pounds.
Right.
It's because he had 2 bad hamstrings. He couldn't even run to – he tried to fire out of the box on one of the pitches at the at-bat, and it was tough on him, man. I felt for him, but, it's a moment that lives in – that could be a 1 seed almost. That's that big a deal. But moving on, the shot heard around the world versus Malcolm Butler's interception in the Super Bowl.
I voted for Malcolm Butler's interception.
I mean, that's a championship ending play. It was phenomenal, but maybe it's overshadowed because they shouldn't have thrown the ball to begin with.
Yeah, to me, it's one of those where that moment only existed because of a really stupid decision preceding it. Shot heard around the world should move on.
It won easily, I believe. That was the Bobby Thompson home run for the Giants. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win. I mean, one of the more iconic calls.
Can we say something before we go on? Some of these moments are great because of the call that was made.
Sometimes.
Yep.
No Harry Carey moments on here, though.
Yeah, the call is as good as the moment.
Well, when you don't win, it's kind of hard, right? I guess you could have put Harry Carey in the shower at Comiskey.
That would have been good.
Drunk in the shower with his shirt off.
I mean, you think of Kirby Puckett going yard in Game 6 of the World Series, not to damper on Mr. Brown here. It's a great thing. They win the World Series, and you listen to the call. It's a good call, but he's not that excited. We'll see you tomorrow night. Like,
I agree with you.
No. You were trying to run down Mr. Brown there, so we're going to keep moving. Another baseball one. So I had this one probably way too high. It was the U.S. women's soccer team back in the 90s. Brandy Chastain hits the penalty kick to win the goal.
Rips the shirt
takes
off.
her shirt off. It was on the cover of every freaking magazine, whether it was Time or Sports Illustrated. It was a huge moment, man, and it was really just absolutely slaughtered by Bill Mazeroski's home run.
Game 7 home run of the 1960 World Series.
Yeah.
Slaughtered it.
But I think you had a little crush on her because that is high for her. That's 6 seed. That was a gift.
I was trying to be all about empowerment and equality and equity here, and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
So moving on. The Thrill in Manila up against Ripken Streak. The Thrill in Manila I had as a 3 seed.
That 3 seed should have moved on.
It did not.
It was winning early. It was beating Ripken. I guess it came back.
What happened?
I don't know. Baltimore showed up.
The streak will not be broken.
Exactly.
All right, Jimmy V and the NC State championship team. Jimmy V running around looking for somebody to hug against Carlton Fisk, waving it fair.
Now, I don't feel like this is a fair matchup because each one of these could have been like a top 3 seed in my mind.
It was a 7-10, so my bad.
I've got to go Jimmy V. Jimmy V.
As a baseball fan, I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, and apparently baseball fans did too. They did not hijack that one. Jimmy V moves on.
Okay.
All right. More baseball. Lou Gehrig's speech against the Minneapolis Miracle.
Minneapolis Miracle.
This was the highest voted matchup in our whole tournament so far.
So before you tell me that Lou Gehrig's speech won, which I don't know that it did, I'm just going to assume it did because the Vikings always lose.
Why would you assume that other than the Vikings always lose?
The Vikings always lose.
No, because it was probably – I mean, it's a 2 seed.
The Sox just won on a walk-off. Wow.
Oh, now the corn's going to catch on fire. They're letting off fireworks.
What are they doing with those fireworks? I told you it was fake corn.
Yeah. Wow. Who was that?
Tim Anderson.
Yeah, it was. What a game to play here for the first one. A walk-off.
If you were watching this game and not trying to talk and watch at the same time, the top of the ninth, they go yard, take an 8-7 lead. Bottom of the ninth, yeah. If it could only be that good every year.
You could make a movie about this game, the way this thing went.
Holy crap.
Anyways.
That was amazing.
But what was the matchup?
You were talking about Gehrig.
Oh, yeah. Highest matchup in our whole bracket. And Gehrig, last I saw, only won by 2 votes.
We need to extend the voting on this.
2 votes.
Extend the voting for a day.
Anybody who don't vote for Gehrig is not a sports fan. I'm sorry, Big. I don't care if you were there or not.
I'll let it set for a entire day it had time. So it
kept getting closer and closer. I was getting nervous.
That would have been a travesty if that would have happened. I wonder if there was like some sharing in Vikings groups.
There was. That's what happened.
Those bastards.
What I will say is that I'm fine with Gehrig moving on because that is an extremely iconic moment, and it is sports' most iconic moment brackets. Had that same play happened in a championship game to get to the Super Bowl or in the Super Bowl and it didn't win the bracket, I'd be dumbfounded.
All right.
I was there, and it felt great.
We weren't, and it was a great moment, but it didn't win. So, and I put it as a 15 seed because of recency bias.
God, fuck you.
All right, let's move on to Jordan's last shot against Gale Sayers.
Man, you really pairing Chicago against
Chicago. Had to make him choose.
Well, it's Jordan's last shot.
Right.
Yeah. In a landslide.
Clearly.
I mean, don't get me wrong, 6 TDs in a game as a rookie is amazing, but it's not Jordan's last shot.
That's easy. Moving on.
All right, next one. LeBron James bringing the title back to Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, think about that series.
It's a big deal.
The block, one of the most iconic plays in NBA history, and Appalachian State going into the big house.
You wanted LeBron to win one. That's why you went with this matchup.
It was a 7-10 matchup.
It's the only way that he wins.
He did not win.
Oh! I just assumed that he won this one.
No, he got railroaded. It was ugly. In fact, when I pulled this one up, it usually shows the emojis that people picked. It only showed the one because it was so one-sided.
Oh.
That's insane. It should be LeBron there.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, if you're a football fan, though, like, there's not a bigger upset in college football history, probably. Like,
because that Michigan team was coming back with all their stars who could have went pro that didn't. Off of they were going to be national champions.
They went 10-2 that year. Like, they weren't bad. They finished in the top 10, I believe. But all right, we got Glory Road. That is the story of
Texas State,
Texas Western,
or Texas Western.
You know what school that is now?
No,
it's UTEP.
Okay.
What a fall from grace. So if you don't know the story, they were the first desegregated. They weren't all black. They had a white guy. But they played Kentucky, Adolph Rupp, and
they
all
had
that
the token cracker.
Yep. So they end up winning the title, and they were going up against the Ice Bowl, the NFL championship game between the Cowboys and the Packers.
Ice Bowl in a landslide.
It was.
Yep.
So think about that. Think about the players in the Ice Bowl and just the fact you got, Tom Landry and Vince Lombardi coaching. That's amazing.
Yep.
All right. Here we got Michael Phelps winning 8 gold medals in the Olympics, in one Olympics, against the kick six, the Auburn, Alabama kick six.
It's probably Auburn, Alabama that wins this, but to me, Michael Phelps, that's just amazing.
The fans agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I personally, I liked the kick six better because I don't care about Olympic sports. That's just how
the kick six to me is just a fluky play.
It is. But it ended Alabama's championship hopes, but it does not advance here. It gets ended by Michael Phelps and his Mothman-like wingspan.
I agree with Phelps.
All right. The greatest game, the 1958 NFL championship against Leitner's Shot.
Leitner's Shot.
It wasn't even close.
That was huge.
You saw the old hats come out in the comments though and talk about how it was a terrible matchup that nobody's going to vote for because they don't know what it is. But anyway, that's exactly what happened.
It is a terrible matchup. I don't know who made these up, but there were some that just weren't paired up very well.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when we do screwy brackets. So we got the 68 Olympics, that's the taking the stand, then raising the fist, and the dude from Australia doing it with them on the podium. This is in the middle of the civil rights movement versus the greatest game that nobody ever saw. So the Dream Team's inter-squad scrimmage that we got to see a lot more of as time has gone on. So you got probably the greatest collection of NBA talent against a iconic moment from the Olympics.
If I had to guess who they voted, it's the 68 Olympics.
You don't know our audience very well.
Well, I voted for the Dream Team.
Well, so did everybody else. It wasn't a very close matchup. All right, I cannot remember Super Bowl XLIII. I believe that is the Steelers and Cardinals.
Yes,
with the tremendous catch by
Santonio Holmes in a corner of the end zone right after Big Ben missed him on the one before when he was more open.
Yep. So they're going up against the Red Sox.
That one wasn't fair.
Reversing the curse.
It was easy.
Down 0-3.
100 years of just sadness.
Okay, just move on. We know who won.
Yeah, that one's easy. Here's another easy one. Jackie Robinson's debut against the Music City Miracle.
Okay.
Jackie.
Yeah.
All right, so see how easily you came to that conclusion? That's what your logical brain should do for the Gehrig one against the Minneapolis Miracle.
Right.
So
it's the same level.
I did mention, you know, I had a biased opinion on that one.
Yeah. All right.
You didn't hear me? I was there.
It made my son like football, damn it.
It was real to me.
Still real to me, damn it. All right. How about Hank Aaron's 715th home run against Mary Lou Retton's perfect 10 in the 84 Olympics?
That 715th home run, when he's rounding second, going to third, there's white fans running out on the field. That moment just right there, not even hitting the home run, that right there shaking his hand, that's civil rights, that's America, that's baseball.
A black man breaking the most iconic player in history, Babe Ruth's record, in the Deep South.
Yep.
And the whole stadium's on their feet cheering. You said the white fans running around the field with him.
Yep.
That was a change, a shift in society.
Hank could have easily thought they were trying to kill him because people wanted to.
He even said that.
Yeah.
He got a ton of letters, death threats, all that stuff.
I is out of control. Like
people want to talk about Jackie when he did, and I'm not dismissing what Jackie did, but Hank had the same type of stuff because of where he was, you know, all-time list, and the fact he was going up that home run ladder. He had to deal with the same type of threats, and like I'm not going to get into the whole spiel, but he handled it better than anyone could have ever done and went off the field.
Dude, we could do a whole show and just talk about Hank Aaron.
So that was easy.
I mean, yeah.
Just move on.
All right. The 2006 Rose Bowl, that's the Vince Young USC, you know.
One of the greatest games I've ever watched.
Going against the Cubs, winning the World Series.
I mean, so it's the Cubs winning the World Series, but that game was incredible. I'll never forget the Reggie Bush lateral inside the 10 that got fumbled and went over to Texas. And if he doesn't do that and he just goes down, they win that damn game.
Yep. And then Vince Young goes on the best end of a college game ever.
Yeah.
I mean, just what a way to cap a career.
That last drive, that was amazing. Amazing game to watch.
But sorry, the Cubbies, they deserved it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Can I call this one the catch, or are you going to get mad?
You can call it the catch.
That one's okay. You just can't call the other one the play.
Yeah.
Against the great ones, the greatest game. So that was Gretzky for the Kings, where I think he had, 4 goals in a playoff game? I mean, something nuts. I don't like hockey, so that's a tough one for me. Where do you go?
The catch. Iconic.
Yeah, it easily moved on.
You cannot tell the history of the NFL without mentioning that play.
That was big. So was the helmet catch from David Tyree, but he was up against Tyson and Holyfield.
The ear bite.
Yes.
So to me, because they're an undefeated team and David Tyree never caught another pass in the NFL, it's the helmet catch, and it should easily win, even though Tyson bit a guy's ear off.
So I also thought that was more iconic.
I did too.
But Tyson was hungry for more, so he's advancing.
I eat your children.
Spinal. We're children sometimes. All right, Willie Mays' amazing catch, the over-the-shoulder World Series grab. And I actually came across a interesting video where they talk about just how amazing this was. Up against Tiger winning his last Masters, the most recent one, the comeback.
In this particular case, I'm a baseball fan, and I would have to, of course, go with the Willie Mays catch, but that last Masters was pretty incredible.
Yeah, a lot of people.
It was like a rock concert.
It was, but a lot of people will talk about how people make, better defensive plays now than what they saw then. But the thing I saw about the Willie Mays catch was, that was at the Polo Grounds, and I don't think people realize how big center field was. And the amount of ground he covered, I don't know. It's like when people try to figure out how fast Walter Johnson could pitch. I mean, it was something different. So baseball wins again. Willie Mays advances. How about Doug Flutie? Hell Flutie, Boston College in the Orange Bowl against Miami with the Hail Mary against Super Bowl 23. That is Joe Montana seeing John Candy in the stands and marching down and making sure the Bengals don't ever win a Super Bowl.
To me, that Flutie Hail Mary is one of the greatest, most iconic plays in the history of college football. It's top 5 in the history of college football. It wins.
Yep.
They agree with you.
Yep, he went on. So how about Michael Jordan, the shot? That's the one over Elo, not over on Harper. against Borg and McEnroe, one for the ages. Some consider the greatest tennis match of all time.
It was incredible, but McEnroe was more known for doing a movie with Adam Sandler.
Mr. Deeds?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know.
Weren't they egging?
They were.
Yeah.
So Jordan advances here. So last but not least, the Rumble in the Jungle against Adam Vinatieri, starting a dynasty.
It's got to be the Rumble in the Jungle.
Yep, that was a 116. So yeah, down goes the Patriots.
This next round's gonna get tough.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Rumble in the Jordan against the shot for Michael Jordan, Doug Flutie against Willie Mays. Like, can we think it's just Willie Mays catching the pass from Doug Flutie? Like, that would work.
Who's your one favorite matchup, or you think will be the closest out of these ones?
If I had to pick the closest one, man, you got the Cubs World Series win against Hank Aaron, but I think Aaron wins that one.
I know we got a lot of Chicago fans.
We do. Man, I will probably say, man, Jimmy V against Lou Gehrig.
That's tough.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That kind of pulls at the heartstrings on both sides.
It does. That is a tough one.
You're sick, man.
Wow, for baseball fans, I'd like to see if they go Kirk Gibson over the shot heard around the world.
Kirk Gibson.
I think they will. Immaculate reception against the 100-point game.
Immaculate reception.
We get the drive versus the play. It's the play, right?
It's the play.
Okay. He called it that. You heard it.
If the play doesn't make an appearance in the Elite Eight, I'm disappointed.
All right. How about the fight of the century against Joe Carter?
Fight of the century.
I think Joe Carter will win, though.
George Bush will beat the dunk contest.
George Bush is a lock for the Sweet 16, and then it's the Miracle on Ice against Jesse Owens.
That's a
Miracle
clear
on
right.
Ice.
That is unfair for Jesse Owens.
I think the biggest one is going to be Doug Flutie versus Willie Mays.
That's probably the closest.
That's what I meant.
I mean, that's a even second round matchup.
Right.
That is who would they get if they advance? You're going to get the winner of the Rumble in the Jungle and Jordan's the shot. So the winner of that one very well could make the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and say that. There's my prediction there. But I still think Miracle on Ice is the front runner to win it all. Am I wrong?
No. Probably the most iconic sports, not only the play because of what happened. We talked politics, all that mixes into that play. And it is one of the greatest calls in the history of sports.
Well, we'll see what happens. All right, I think that's enough show. We went over the bracket. It's been fun. Next time we do it, it won't be as long because, less games, less matchups.
And it starts tomorrow, right?
It starts tomorrow, so make sure you find us on Facebook. That's where we do it. We're on Instagram and Twitter, but we get more action for voting on Facebook. So that's where you got to go. Find We Don't Know Sports. It'll be there. And lock in. Cast your emoji. And don't get mad about what emoji we pick. Just deal with it, damn it. Just vote and move on. It'll be fine.
Don't know where to find it? Just ask your dad or grandma because they're on Facebook.
The book face.